Anyway, we're hopping in the game again. Let's hope the players have the right civilizations right now. Hopefully it's Mongols, so that's correct. Again, a desert like Arabia. And Fire now playing once again in blue. Not too exciting as I'm playing with Fen and Foe colors on. Let's take a look at his map first. Nice woodline in the back. Once again, he seems to be a bit surrounded by hill. No, not surrounded, only on the left side where his main gold is. And his gold is quite open. It seems like all three of his golds are to the left side of this map. So he might have a hard time actually defending those golds. The right hand side of his map is a bit friendlier. The wood lines being there. The weird puddles not giving a great second wood line. But at least he has the one in the back. The main gold isn't too far away from the town center. Berries in the back. Can wall reasonably at the front, but still very open left once again. Considering the stone, as I mentioned last game. Whereas stone feels quite important in the Mongol walls in my opinion, because very often we see this transitioning into the castle age, where people will be dropping the castles and will try and go for Mangudai. So this time, by the way, Fire not going forward immediately with his scouts, so not risking the ball lane this time, as he has no Rees left. So that really was his motivation to go ahead and try something risky. Now, considering Yo's map, really open on the forward, with those hills on the right, additional gold is there. Oh, his stone is forward as well. He has a nice woodline in the back, and his main gold is covered up by this bush a little bit, but still. The hills in front of him, and it's so very open. Yo might have a really hard time defending his gold. I would guess he just can be happy he has this nice wood in the back. What's interesting to mention for the Mongols as well is whether the deers are nearby is the hunting bonus, and also the likelihood that the players will be going for a scout rush is going to be a very important factor in deciding whether or not the deers are really usable or not. I think Yo can use these ones. I didn't check those of Fire. Seems to be a bit far away. Not sure if he will be able to get them in. And now we actually see Fire going forward again a bit later than we saw last time. He is actually getting the sheep in this time. He also has the second bench here before, by the way. It seems, however, that Yo will be taking his sheep back right now, and Fire is also unable to... Oh, actually, Yo not getting the sheep back. It's still going to be a slight advantage for Fire, I guess. Not as big as a bull, but everything helps. And it seems like Fire will not be succeeding in actually stealing a ball this time. Not sure whether he was just scouting. He was moving out quite early. On the other hand, with the scout bonus, he doesn't... Once again, he doesn't know where his own ball is. So that was a bit of a risky thing. As Yo also has the opportunity to actually go for a lame himself. But Yo doesn't seem to be interested in laming so far. Put both of his own balls in. Hasn't been looking for Fire this much. And from here on, I think we will be seeing the usual scouts build order. We see a fourth one being on wood for Fire. We saw them do the same thing game 1 in the Hun Wars, but he went for scouts anyway that game. So I think, even though he is full on wood, which is, in my experience, more than usual for Scout Rush, I think Fire still will be going for the Scout Rush, especially after what we saw in game 1. Let me just check, did he find the ball this time? Still no sign. And it seems like he's looking for it right now, so I guess he will find it, but being a bit late. And with the Mongols, you want to get this 2021 pop-up for the scouts. You don't want it to be late, and that's really easy to do usually if you have your ball. But without the ball, you're going to delay yourself by some villages, and now we actually see Fire pushing in the deer to make sure he has some additional food income. Maybe Fire is thinking that Yo actually stole his ball. He's just not looking for it anymore, because if we look at Fire scouting, there's really two spots where his ball can be. Or it is at the back over here in the Fog of War, or in this small plume over here. So I would really love to see Fire just scout this a little bit here before he started pushing in the deer. I mean, I like the fact that he pushes in the deer, but he needs this ball quicker. We can see Yo clicking up right now. We can see Fire sitting at 200 food. He might struggle a little bit from here on, as it seems like Yo will have a really large advantage getting up to the castle age, to the feudal age from here on. So obviously Fire now getting the deer, but just going to click up so much later. Even if he finishes the deer, I'm not entirely sure whether he will be able to get the boar. Now scouting the right side, maybe looking for it a little bit. Such a missed opportunity. There's 340 juicy, quickly gathered Mongol food. Now almost able to click up, but look at it. He is on 21 villages getting the loom right now, so he isn't idling his town center, but we saw Yo going up at 18, so he's going to be ahead in scout so much. Obviously pushing in the deer. Make sure that Yo has enough food for the scout production. Let me swap to his perspective. He has an easy time to continue actually making both scouts and the villagers. And yeah, here we have it. Fire trying to push in those deer a little bit to compensate for the boar whilst it's just sitting over there. He didn't fully wall this either because the right side is still open, and obviously here as well. A bit of a pity, the deer pushing not really working out, and now we have the stable going up. Fire not being in the Feudal age yet, so he's just unable to get a spear out as well. So this once again seems like a really good start for Yo, and this might have all been caused just by the fact that the Fire didn't scout well enough to actually find his boar over here. And here we have it, Yo now finding Fire's boar, and it's just like, hey, if you aren't going to take it, I'll take it myself. Thanks for the addition of food. Will help me out a little bit if I'm going to be Feudal at 19 fields. And that's just going to secure all the food income for Yo, really. And I don't think Yo was even planning on laming, but if you see the boar not being taken, why would you feel stopped? Now he's indeed walling those actions. I still think this is open, I'm not entirely sure, but I believe there might still be a gap over here. As now he walled in between the trees rather than at a beach line. Game's going pretty well. So once again, ooh, hard run back, patient boar, good to go. And a lot of walls actually coming through for Fire, as he's been quite a bit later. He has a reasonable wallable map, just investing a lot of villager time on the left hand side, really afraid of the scouts, and this obviously helps him defend his main goals a bit as well, which is going to be very important in the long run of the game. But just look at it, Yo only seeding his first farms right now. Just getting the deer and the balls, and there you have it, there's still a gap. Yo just running straight underneath the TC as we've seen twice before so far. Is going to deny a wall here, so that means the scouts of Yo will be able to run in for now. And there we have it, we have one additional scout out for Yo, less than I expected with such a difference in Feudal time. But also the spear for Fire, he might be able to lock up the scouts a little bit. Needs to be a bit careful with those villages on there. No, actually one damaged villager, but it doesn't seem like like Yo will be able to pick something off over here. And Yo trying to get all the harassment he can. Not a lot of action so far, but in the meanwhile, obviously, Yo's eco back at base is just playing out safe. He's now moving to gold. I wouldn't be surprised to see Yo go for an FC from this point on, rather than transitioning into archers, but we see 5 going to gold. That kind of tells me he will be considering going archers from this point. On the other hand, he's already high on the food count. It can still really go both ways. No, actually, Fire doing a good job dealing with the scouts of Yo. From there on, Fire might have the opportunity to go aggressive again, but we see that Yo has been walling quite a bit. He might be able to deal some damage over here. Yo doesn't have any spears out right now, so a bit of an opportunity for Fire here, but for now he doesn't seem to be moving forward. And we can see, like, this is what we saw in game 1 and 2 so far. We see Yo going aggressive, dealing some damage, and now Fire not prepared to counterattack on Yo, and Yo is now just freely getting the resources in. Might be collecting up to Castle Age anytime soon. And yeah, now finally Fire is moving forward, but look at his nice little base created by Yo so far. The gold is safe, no archers means the villagers at the wood line is safe as well, and from down, Fire again investing in the scouts, not having the additional ball, is going to be up to Castle Age quite a bit later. We can see it. Yo It's just ready to click up any second now, and Fire just investing in Feudal a bit more after just having a bit more of a sloppy start. Needing to invest more for his feeling. It's just going to be later to Castle Age again. It's almost like we're watching the same game over and over again, but with different civilizations. But I really like how Yo is doing this so far. And now we have it. He isn't even forced to get a lot of a defensive army out. He can just re-wall behind it. It's completely closed if I'm not mistaken. And there we have it. Fire just 400 food is walking here. That isn't going to go to the Castle Age. It helped him clear the scouts of Yo here. It just isn't doing anything right now. And yeah, Super Boo, he was co-casting it earlier, but he had to leave for now. I didn't have the opportunity to update the title so far. It seems like Fire is making his way up to the Castle Age as well, but it's going to be quite a bit later, as we've been seeing in the game so far. And I'm just curious how it's going to work out. I like how Fire is now also bringing the spear forward. I wonder how much it will actually be doing. The spear is just going to get cleaned up though. Might actually get one scout. Just not so far. So just repairing the house or rebuilding behind it is going to buy us Yo enough time to actually get into Castle Age. And once again, we only see Fire clicking up in a few seconds from here on, if he even has the second building. Has a blacksmith in the back. I wonder, are we going to see the TC drop from Yo again? Because often we've seen him hit Castle Age a bit earlier, and he was getting the TC drop down. And once he had the TCs, from there on he went some army to go even with Fire, but in the meanwhile, Yo just having a way stronger economy. But maybe Fire is going to play it differently this game. But for now, there you have it, the TC of Yo coming up, and that's even going to cover those houses, so Fire won't be able to get in there anytime soon. Just immediately bows out. It just shows how good the economy of Yo is right now. And I still feel like this lead for Yo with this game was really created by that one ball Fire just almost refused to take, in my opinion. For now, I'm just waiting for the same thing to happen. Maybe Yo wasn't able to actually pick off villages this time with a scout, but maybe he will be able to do so. I see the flag on... Oh, and we actually see knights coming out. I was a bit surprised by the camel, but that's most likely just to deal with the last scouts running around from Fire. But I think Yo will have an easy time defending against those 4 scouts or anything like it. And the question is, can he deal the damage with the knights right now? But even if he doesn't do any damage at this point, he will most likely be sitting at more town centers anyway. As I wouldn't be surprised if we can see a 3rd town center going up anywhere next to the stone or maybe a wood line. Now his only concern is really getting through the palisade. From here on, Yo is actually moving forward quite a bit. Is going to secure the other wood line and stone mine over here. And here once again we see Fire just adding his 2nd town center. So once again, Yo is going to be ahead. This is really like game 1 and 2 so far. 3rd town center going up as we see the 2nd one for Fire. Yo not doing as much damage this time though, and now Fire has the easy option to defend as Mongols with the camels. This is what I dislike a little bit about the choice of getting the knights out. But Yo might be able to just win this game in the long run if he outbooms a little bit, hit him earlier. And I wonder what he's planning to do from there on. I mean, we might be seeing some Mangudai coming out, but it's still a very long way. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Fire actually trying to get a pressure up again, because every time Fire has been set behind in the Castle Age, from there on, he's trying to get aggressive, knowing he cannot outboom Yo from that point on. Just seeking to deal the damage. He didn't succeed last games. I'm just thinking about how is he able to do it this game. If he's investing in camels right now, it's obviously not going to do it, as camels might be one of the worst raiding units to actually get some damage done. Great for defending at this point, but nothing else really. So it seems like Yo will just be safely booming again, like once again sitting on such a low military count. We can see probably Fire investing right now in something like military to return some damage. Actually getting quite a bit of monks, but with Yo not going for knights anymore, those monks aren't going to pay off anytime soon. Yeah, from there on, I think this game is just going to be a bit stagnated from here on. Both players getting a bit of a boom going. It seems like Fire won't be going as aggressive this time, and is actually going to drop a third town center if I'm not mistaken as well. Actually a fourth town center for Fire this time, so instead of trying to deal some damage in the meanwhile, Fire's like, okay, we can play this boom game from here on. And we actually see both players going for 4 town centers. We only see a 7th villager lead for Yo so far. I mean, obviously it is significant, but we've seen larger villager leads in game 1 and 2. So I wonder if Yo is actually going to get off as easy as he will this time. And now Fire going forward with the camels. Doubt it's going to be too effective. To be honest now, I think we can just wait a little bit until the players are finally going to hit the early Imperial age. I don't think the camels are going to do any significant damage. I doubt Yo will be going for a lot of military at this point. I think the most important thing at this point might be who's going to get wheelbarrow first, who's going to drop the castles where, and from there on we might be seeing both players going for Mangudai in the early Imperial age. And from here on, yeah, they're basically on third. I can be very exciting about it, but I don't think it's going to be a huge influence of the game. Because Fire is nicely taking his monk back at this stage. His camel back with the monk, I mean. And let me just check Yo's resources. Will he be clicking up to Imp anytime soon? It actually seems more favourable for Fire this time, whereas Yo is again on a bit of a higher villager count. Just not as exciting. Handcuff being done for Yo, so it's going to help his food eco a little bit. And now I'm just curious how much we have on stone for Fire over here. Let me check a second stone mine. Where was it again? There's one over here, and the second one is in his wall. So I can't really see anything else happening. And as Orange is mentioning in the chat right now, I think a very nice castle spot will be on the stones just to secure it. If we take a look at the additional gold mines on the map, we have, this is actually an extra gold of Fire, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Fire drop a castle on this hill. We have an additional gold over here, so basically in both corners we have an additional gold. Not sure if we're going to see a castle up on those anytime soon. Maybe in the later stage of the game where the players will be running out of gold a little bit, and where the wood lines are also going to be important, as we see quite often in Dry Arabia, where you need to be forced to take map control, not just for the gold. And by the way, there we have it, the castle. But Yo once again up to castle age a bit earlier. It seems like Fire has the resources. Does he have a market? No, he doesn't, so he will be up a bit later again. Is it going to make as much as of a difference again, though? I doubt it, to be honest. And we actually see a lot of villages going forward for Yo, and now I'm curious what he is up to. Is he actually... He's actually moving to the mining camp over there. He's going to spot a monk here. Will he take it out with the vills? It seems like he cannot be bothered, or maybe he's just trying to convert it, but I doubt he has sanctity to actually convert the monk. So, just too late to secure the relic. Really cocky move of Yo, in my opinion, to actually go ahead and try and claim this gold mine. And now Yo's going to give some camels away. Bit of a pity. And there we have it, Fire finally clicking up as well. Against a bit later, but not as much later as the last game. So I don't think this game is decided as game 1 and 2. As both players are on equal castle count, if I'm not mistaken. Just one castle for both of them. And there we have it, first Mangudai coming out for both players. Both players almost able to drop a new castle. And from there on, it's just going to be very important who's able to raid more, who's able to deal the damage. So let's take a look at the maps a bit more, as both players are walled with Palisade right now, but obviously if you have a reasonable group of Mangudai, they do not really care for Palisade, so the left side is pretty open for Fire. Even though, look at the glyphs around Fire's base, he might actually be able to stonewall an awful lot over here, and I think stonewalling can really be worth it in the long run of the game, because often we see those long run Mongol wars being decided by who's able to raid better. You can see the Hussars coming out, you can see the group of Mangudai that most likely survived the early game, the early imp I mean, and from there on, the one just running out of resources first, the one not keeping up with production, or another important factor. One thing we often see in the early game as well, I'm saying early gaming again, but I'm meaning early imp, my apologies, is the player to lose his castles first is obviously going to struggle with the Mangudai production, so this is why you always need a nice consideration, because do you want to build the castles more forward to keep your map control going? Or do you want your castles a bit more in the back to make sure your production stays alive? It's really important decision making in this game, and we actually see the first raiding continuing from Fire over here, as both players are now in the Imperial Age, and I wouldn't be surprised to see mainly Mangudai, and from there on transition into Hussars and skirmishes. The relic count for the players is an interesting thing to check. We have 4 relics being secured for Fire, where we saw him getting really early onto those relics. 1 relic for Yo. That means all relics on the map has been taken. And actually Yo being scared of this gold on the right hand side, which I already find very cocky in the first place, getting quite punished for this decision. Maybe picking off some of the picking off some gold there, denying it for Fire later on, but was it worthwhile? Not entirely sure. And yes, Yoda, I'm Dutch. And from here on, Fire will be actually having the Mangudai lead for now. This might actually be very costly for Yo, as he is unable to get his 3rd castle up, if I'm not mistaken. 2nd castle, rather. Whereas we see Fire right now being on 2 castles so far, adding a 3rd castle. The 2nd castle for Yo being denied is going to be really really a bottleneck for him, because he's already behind on the Mangudai production. He's picking some bad fights. This is actually looking pretty good for Fire from here on. And now Bloodline's coming through as well. Let me check. We have 8 HP. So no Bloodlines. Bloodline's done for both players right now. Chemistry coming through. Yo might really struggle this game, actually getting the right numbers out for the Mangudai. I wonder if he will actually be able to get on equal numbers, or maybe we see Yo being forced into Hussars and Elite skirmishes earlier this game, because he's just unable to keep on spending all his resources on his Mangudai. We actually see another caster going down for Fire on his gold. He's like, nope, Yo, you're not getting this one. He's going to drop an additional town center here. It's going to be not a lot of value, just covering this poor root line. And another awkward thing for Yo, by the way, is how his additional 3rd gold is really far forward in between the players. So he's really going to struggle, and from down, Yo might run out of gold really quickly, already being behind on the Mangudai production. Looking really good for Fire, in my opinion. And there we indeed have it. Lightcap coming through for Yo. Is having the lower caster count is going to be very important. Adding the stables right now, sorry, I said having the lower caster count is very important, but when you have the lower caster count, it's very important to spend your resources on something else. But if you look at his eco balance, it's really made for Mangudai at this point, not that much for the Hussar spam. And just look at it, 21 versus 11 military, only 10 military difference. It isn't the end of the world, but with Mangudai, if Fire is able to continue picking off some Mangudai over there and over here, and with Fire being on 4 castles, This is going to be really hard for Yo to actually come back from, especially if these castles get denied. Let me just check real quick. Still 2 castles for him. Has the stone to continue and drop more, but I guess he wants to drop them a bit more offensive. And there we have it. Fire is actually walling the map up, getting prepared for any raiding coming through, even though this villager might get denied. And we even have this DC of Yo being at the back. So that is a weird way to see a sneak happening. And now just the Mangudai trying to focus the castle down. It's going to take quite a while. Let me just check the upgrades real quick. +4, +2. And a +4, +4, so a bit more defense upgrades being done for Fire so far, as he's also been on the Mangudai a bit more. I think Yo simply preferred to get the Hussar upgrades in first. And I don't think the Hussars are as good as the Mangudai is fighting head-on. And this is even more of a tough spot for Yo to be in, because this hill can be very important as well. Even though this gold is going to run out over here, it might force Yo to stick to the right side of the map. Maybe we can see Fire taking control of this gold later on. And wow, the castle might eventually even go down, so let's check if Yo is watching it. On the 1k down. Not finishing it in the last HP, but Yo cancelling it in time is going to preserve some additional stone. Hussar's here to stop the wall, so maybe the raiding will continue, even though Fire has a really easy option to rewall over here, but obviously he doesn't want to give up on this gold so far. Actually, trap coming out over there as well. A bit of a weird position. He might plan on taking out a TC over there. And there we have Fire dropping another castle. And as I mentioned before, this forward gold for Yo might even go to Fire, as it's just in between the players. Now we see Yo trying to get a raiding in, but he's in a very risky position here. He's just mixing himself in between Fire's armies. He needs to be very careful whether he picks a fight here or not. He's actually going to get walled in by 2 siege workshops, and I love it, because this might mean that Yo is going to lose all of his Mangudai over here. And this is going to be really hard for Yo to come back from. Losing that many Mangudai whilst being on such a low amount of castles. And now also forced to get his forward wood line. Oh, look at it, all those Mangudai being slaughtered. And Yo just unable to get any raiding in at this point. Just a great trap, really. That might have been game changing, just slinging the game even more in Fire's favor. We see Yo now also being on the left hand side gold, really trying to secure the gold, not having a lot of map control, trying to get some raiding in, but after losing all those Mangudai. And Yo is still, okay, is now on 3 castles. Okay, Yo is now finally on 4 castles, so the production is going to be a bit better, but look at it, 64 military versus 31, and then considering the fact that this is just Mangudai only on Fire's side, and Yo is actually mixing in Hussars. So, from now on he's just really going to struggle. The only thing I'd like to see from Fire right now is less hitting lumber camps and more raiding. But obviously he might need to wait for the siege to come through to actually deal with any castles of Yo. And obviously if Yo has the siege, he still needs to be careful against any siege ramp Yo's might be bringing out. As obviously, even though the Mangudai have a bonus against siege, they can still soak an awful amount of damage. Seems like Fire will finally be completing his wall over here. And Yo trying to make a push for this castle, and this is what I was talking about earlier. It's risky to go forward with your castle, but if you can deny your opponent that gold, it might pay off. But having it on this hill, I completely agree with Fire going so forward, and already having such a military advantage. I feel like this is going to be a great fight for Fire if he can keep his castle alive. On Fire indeed, just having way more numbers. We can check the upgrades one more, +4, +4. Still not all the defensive upgrades being done for Yo so far, and that might even cost him even more because he was fighting uphill No upgrades. I think this is going to be an extraordinary strong push from Fire here. He's just able to get in the eco. Maybe he's not taking out castles immediately because the stables are mixed in. But even if he can get the stables down and maybe this eco in the south of Yo's just going to struggle to get out any hussars. As we can see him struggling with his food eco already quite a bit. So this is looking really good for Fire, so we might be seeing, I think we will be seeing actually game 4 where the players will be picking team random, but maybe I shouldn't be calling it this game yet because we've seen Mongol Wars going many ways, but I really like it. Fire playing safe, getting the walls up, making sure his eco is safe, and now having a really strong push, 70 versus 36 military. And yeah, just okay, maybe not taking out any castles at this point, which I still feel like is the most important thing in the Mongol War at this stage of the game, where Yo still has plenty of resources to continue and make Mangudai, but even in the long run of the game, we know Fire has 4 relics, Yo is only at 1. And Fire just already has so many more Mangudai, might be able to deal the damage, already has a way stronger economy. And I think he will just be struggling from heal. This castle might go down. There's a bit of Mangudai, but he's just going to lose. Or he's going to lose all his Mangudai, and maybe he's able to get a ramps up. There's more and more ramps coming. Nice forward siege workshops. Yo trying to get a bit of a fight back over here. Dropping a castle in the front, trying to deny this goal. Not sure if it's going to pay off. I think this castle is just going to be taken out by siege too easily. I can see Fire indeed getting the traps, getting the siege, Fire downhill. I think this really was a waste of Yo Stone. He might be denying gold for quite a bit, but it just isn't going to pay off in my opinion, as the stone is just too important to get a Mangudai out, especially at the stage of the game where both players still have reasonable amounts of gold. And we can just look at the population difference. 50 more population for Fire right now, continuing to push. And we can see the ram train coming, drill almost being researched, so this castle is just going down quicker and quicker. And we can even check the wood lines of Yo right now. I think Yo is just struggling to get wood in at all. There's this wood line, but this is being threatened by Mangudai. This is just under fire by Mangudai. So Yo is even running out of wood at this point of the game, as Fire has like 3/4 of the map under his control. And there we have it, the GG being called, so that means it's going to be 2-2-1 for Yo at this point. And also that we will be seeing game 4 where the players will have mirror civilizations. And just now we can see the players really being equal and eco. Really paying off for Fire this time, even though he had a slower start. Just getting the castles earlier seemed to have worked wonders for him, to be honest.